Kevin, thank you for coming talking to Living Down Under. So tell me a little bit about your story and your life and how you're coming to be living in Australia.
Basically, I've always wanted to come to Australia ever since I was a child, and always thought that was kind of only the rich people that could do it. And then when kind of life went on like it does, and I was done kind of dead-end jobs for lots of years, and got married and all that sort of thing. And then basically thought I was too old to do it because I thought there was probably strict age limits, and I hadn't looked into it at all. And then we watched one of the programs on the UK television, and there was a couple on there that was older than us, and they actually emigrated to Tasmania. So basically the next day I rang up an agent and said, well look, here's a go, here's how old we are and stuff, you know, can we do it? And they said yeah. Basically asked me what my job was and what I was doing, and I thought with IT skills that I'd easily get in. And they said, nah, the IT is not on the demand list. And then they happened to say, well, what does your wife do? And I said, well, she's a chef, so that's probably no good. And they actually said, no, actually a chef is probably the go. So that's how we come over on my wife's skills.
And how long did it take, that whole visa process?
It took us probably about 2 years, and mainly because we're really bad at paperwork. So like the agents were really good. There was a mob up in Scotland. They was really good, and as soon as we sent stuff off, they would sort it out and get it back to us. But then they'd just kind of sit on the side for a month or so, and especially like the TRA application, getting all the stuff like, you know, from when my wife was first left school. That just took, well, months and months and months. So it probably took about 2 years in total.
And then how quickly were you in Australia after you got that wonderful letter saying that you could come?
Well, basically we booked a holiday because my wife had never been here. My wife and son had never been here, though I'd been here backpacking. And we come probably about 2 or 3 months after the visa was given to us to validate the visa. And I think that's about August or something like that. And then we come over the next October. So it's probably, after we got the visa, it's probably 15 months or so from getting that to moving over.
And tell me, what were the most difficult things really when you first got here?
I think the most difficult things was not having a support network.
Yeah.
You know, that's definitely a thing, and I know it's worse for women than what it is for blokes. You know, blokes can kind of meet up, have a beer around the barbie and your mates already, but with women it takes a lot longer because obviously women got deeper sort of relationship stuff. So I think that was the hardest thing, not knowing where to go, not knowing what to do. It's just simple things like, you know, if you've got a toothache, where do you go? You know, if there's something wrong with you, where do you go to the doctor? All those sort of things. That's definitely the hardest thing. And but the friends are the main thing, you know, and we know it's when we actually got a group of friends, then things totally change.
Yeah, because you've got that network and you can just ring them and ask them for
exactly.
a contact, which is really good,
exactly.
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And have you found a huge variety of friends, or have you stuck with a little English group, or?
Yeah, well, we have kind of just got English friends, you know, and I know a lot of our expats are the same, and we met these people through the British Expats website.
Oh, okay.
And we had a meet-up and stuff like that, and, you know, we've got a very kind of close group. There's probably about 10 of us, and we go camping and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, all British, I'm afraid.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing at all, but I think most people, when they say they're going to emigrate over here, they say, oh yeah, we're not going to mix with the English, we're going to have Aussie friends and all that stuff, but just that didn't work out like that.
Well, you can't often plan those things, and a lot of the time you've got that common ground because you have emigrated, and you've got that whole history thing happening in England. Yeah,
I think just things like you can talk about TV programs when you was young and stuff like that, and you know, you can relate to things like that. So like when you sit around a campfire, it's easier to have a talk rather than the Aussies talking about their football and all that stuff that they love, and we talk about what we love, and you know, just.
Yeah. And I know you've recently been to see some other friends.
Yeah, we had some friends move over. They're on they're basically their company. They moved from England. They work for a big building company. My friend Clive, and he moved over to here. He got basically a transfer over to Cairns. He's leading the project up there. So they come over about a month or so ago. So we haven't seen them for 3.5 years. So we went up at the weekend and see them.
Oh, and you had a good time?
Yeah, no, it was really good.
They're settled up there?
Yeah, it's lovely up in Cairns. But yeah, that's good. They hadn't changed at all, really, not at all. You know, it's when they said the same about us. You know, we haven't changed at all, which is good, I suppose.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, that you can remain the way that you are, and at least you transform your whole life. Yeah, no, that's good. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing here and how you can help people.
Well, when I first got here, we kind of had a 3-month holiday. A lot of people have a long holiday when they get here, kind of chill out. And then I worked for a local company, but it didn't really work out. I've been self-employed in the UK for several years and didn't really work out. So I set up my own IT business, and really what I do is look after small businesses, either people buying new businesses or existing businesses from kind of 2 or 3 employees up to like 20. So what I do is look after the complete IT systems, supply computers, and basically anything to do with IT.
And I think something that we've talked a lot about is when migrants come over, there's a lot of people that buy a business. And that's something where you recommend that they have an audit on their technology as well, because that's a huge part of the cost really in some businesses.
Yeah, it's a huge part of the cost, but what I find is that most people buying businesses, especially like the Brits come over, they kind of rush into things and they don't actually do that. And like I say, a friend of mine, he bought a signage company, and the computer system there really was totally rubbish. But signage companies, they totally rely on IT.
Yeah.
But at that time, I didn't know him when he bought the business. But it would have been so important for him to have an audit of the IT system, because I could have said, well, look, really it needs all replacing, and then obviously he'd have been in a good negotiating point with the seller.
That's right. It's part of the due diligence of buying a business, really, isn't it? And I think it's a really great service that you can offer businesses in that front.
I've found running a business in Australia to be easier than running a business in the UK. I find that when I first came here, I was a bit daunted by all the kind of what you have to do, the registration and all that sort of stuff. But it just took a day or so, and I find that people pay me quicker.
Yeah.
They're more willing to pay. It just seems to be how it is here, and I've got no bad debts or anything like that. People pay me straight up front, and yeah, it's all good. My business here is much more successful than what it was in the UK.
So Kevin, how do people contact you if they want to get hold of you?
I have a website which is www.isolveit.com.au. It's isolveit.com.au. That's the best way of contacting me.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.